Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Hubar begins now.
There are concerns further cuts to our state's health department will see surgery wait times spiral. The latest dashboard data showing over 300 elective surgeries were postponed just last month, with over 8,000 patients currently on the waiting list.
We're going to see numbers like this, record numbers of elective surgery cancellations and growing wait lists for elective surgery continue to get worse.
The government highlighting the waitlist has reduced by more than 4,000 after it peaked in January, despite increasing demand. Police are investigating a spate of deliberately lit house fires around Launceston. 2 Mayfield properties were set ablaze on the 21st of September, both within a 90-minute period late in the evening. One residence was destroyed while the other suffered significant damage. Another house in Mowbray was torched in the early hours of September 20. It was a moment his family and friends will never forget. Once Queenstown local Chris Fagan coaching the Brisbane Lions to victory over the weekend. From the gravel in the west to the MCG, the Premiership coach has done it all with his loved ones firmly by his side.
Taking to the ground after the final siren. It was a hug between mother and son that said it all.
That meant so much to me because to see him so happy, that was the main thing.
To be there in that moment, looking around at the MCG, hearing the crowd chanting, Fagan, Fagan, that was like, oh my goodness, it was pretty amazing.
From playing on the famous gravel oval in Queenstown to now a premiership coach. Chris Fagan is the oldest coach to win on the big stage and the first to do it without playing at a top level.
He said, "What do you reckon, Mum? Someone from the gravel?" I said, "Yeah."
We were all getting very emotional at the realisation that he'd done it, that he'd actually achieved his dream.
Friend Mark has fond memories of playing against Chris in the Tasmanian Football League.
Well, he was a little pest. He was one of those typical little rovers that was a little bit yappy and you could never catch.
Name almost any role in football and Chris Fagan has most likely mastered it. His coaching career began here at North Hobart Oval, where the club claimed back-to-back premierships in the early 90s.
Shortly after that, he became a senior coach at Sandy Bay, then went on to coaching the Mariners and then went across to Melbourne, and the rest is history.
Winning the grand final with the whole state cheering him on.
Missed out just last year by 4 points, of course, against Collingwood. This year, a thumping win. We couldn't be prouder of Chris.
Extremely proud, yeah, and very happy for him that it's all worked out.
Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
Intercepting those responsible for making and distributing drugs is the focus of this year's Crime Stoppers Week. Authorities calling on the community to report any intel to stop the ongoing harm of drug-related crimes.
Combating drug crime, the force behind this year's Crime Stoppers Week.
The people that are manufacturing and peddling these drugs do not care. They will not tell you what's mixed in to that drug.
Illicit drug manufacturers and distributors, an ongoing target for authorities. Also creating more community awareness about the harm that substances can cause, with 1 in 10 Tasmanians impacted by drug use.
We're seizing a lot of methamphetamine, so ice, cocaine and those sort of drugs that really do cause the most harm.
Organised crime and outlaw motorcycle gangs look to the drug trade as a key source of funds and financing for them. So it's important that we're able to disrupt those networks.
Today, recognising one of the state's biggest drug operations to date. Tasmania Police able to intercept $4.6 million worth of methamphetamine and cocaine back in December, arriving via boat.
It is rare to see a criminal appear before a court that doesn't have some sort of connection with drugs.
Crime Stoppers currently receive around 23 tips per day. That's almost 8,500 every year. But it's calling for more, no matter how small or insignificant the information may seem.
Tas Police do a very good job, and that's why it's so important for us to get the information to them, the right information to them.
Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
A flagship Tasmanian tourism campaign is embarking on another national tour, putting the state front of travellers' minds. Come Down for Air is looking to entice a record number of visitors, and it's hoped a multi-million-dollar boost will be enough to do just that.
This place has it all. Rich history, 360-degree views, and slow-moving fluffy lawnmowers.
A message from Tasmania to the rest of the country. Come Down for Air is back for a 6th edition, placing a trip to the Apple Isle at the top of the destination wish list.
To drive those bookings, get people to book those planes, book that accommodation, fill their itinerary with everything.
The marketing campaign undergoing a refresh to build on previous success. Since its launch 5 years ago, the Interstate Drive has catapulted Tasmania's popularity, sitting second behind Queensland.
We've gone out there with these campaigns that cut through, and then we've delivered the goods when it comes to actually coming here.
To try and unlock the ticket to number one, a $4 million cash splash from the state government.
To bring more visitors to Tasmania, stimulate demand, and to ensure that the 43,000 people that are employed in the visitor economy continue to be.
The tourism push centres around what makes Tasmania different, placing some of our most iconic features at the heart of the campaign.
It is the epitome of what Tasmania's all about. It's a calm, relaxing, scenic environment.
One of the icons with a starring role is the famous Cataract Gorge chairlift, giving visitors a bird's eye view of the spectacular reserve, as long as you don't mind the height.
To actually push that right across Australia and the rest of the world is just critical for us, and we're here every single day, rain, hail or sunshine.
Victoria Easto, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania looks no closer to hosting a Katy Perry concert after South Australia's Premier was able to convince the megastar to add an Adelaide stop to her tour next year. Despite her pledged allegiance to the Devils, our Premier hasn't been in touch with the team's most famous supporter, but he isn't ruling out a last-minute pitch.
I haven't got Katy Perry's number in my contacts. Should that become available to me, of course I will pick up the phone to Katy.
Jeremy Rockcliffe adding the state will be in a better place to welcome international acts once the Macquarie Point Stadium is completed. A local charity is continuing its legacy of presenting care boxes to families who have lost children in pregnancy. Beyond the Rainbow is raising awareness about the issue on the eve of Infancy Loss and Awareness Month.
Preparing a gift for those families who've lost a life through pregnancy, stillbirth and early infancy. The rainbow boxes distributed to hospitals throughout Tasmania to pass on to those bereaved by the loss of a baby who never made it into the world alive.
It came about after experiencing my own baby loss through the stillbirth of my daughter Amelia at 38 weeks.
Stillbirths not uncommon. In 2021, there were 50 such cases across Tasmania.
I wanted to start something that made other families feel a little bit less alone in that moment, that they're in the hospital, they've just been told this news, they've just delivered their baby who's not breathing.
Emma, whose baby Jace was conceived by IVF, had a difficult pregnancy from the beginning.
Jace's pregnancy was, I guess, pretty complicated, to say the least, from the get-go. And then at the 13-week scan, we found out that he did have a thickened nuchal. That was later discovered that he had significant genetic abnormalities.
Both women want to offer comfort and support to families who experience the loss of a baby. Melinda Ogden, 7 Tasmania News.
Lauderdale's wasted no time at all locking in a new senior coach to replace Alan Christensen as Clarence assistant Brett Dolliver steps up to lead the Bombers through the inaugural SFL Premier League season. After signing on Saturday morning, Dolliver spent grand final day planning for pre-season. He says he won't be actively poaching from his old club amid speculation of a player exodus following last week's axing of Peter Ryan, but there may be some players up north worth taking a shot at, not that the TSL runners-up are lacking talent.
We certainly will look to add a little bit to Lauderdale, but what they've currently got, I think, is enough to compete for a grand final, if not win it, because there is some very talented players up there, and if they're looking to go to the mainland, we'll certainly try and entice them to come down south.
The father of Matthew Richardson Rising Star medalist Jack Dolliver, Brent says he'd love to bring his son with him, but we'll leave that decision up to Jack. It might have been a baptism of fire, but Tiger Kelly Wilson says she's grateful after making her debut in trying conditions in Perth. Coming in as the last batter with 2 runs to win, she held her nerve to survive and helped the side to victory, even lamenting her 2 wickets earlier in the day weren't very good balls. After working through injuries over the last couple of seasons, Wilson's enjoying finally playing alongside the 3-time championship squad.
I'm always happy to learn. Nick Carey's been helping me out with my bowling, so I've been really grateful.
I think previously we've had a few kind of longer term injuries, and then to have the girls who are sitting on the sidelines be ready and up for the battle is great.
The 2-0 start is an extension of their winning form. Their next match is against South Australia on Friday. And that is all in sport tonight, Lou.
Wonderful. Thanks for that, Nick. Kaya will join us after the break with the week's weather forecast.
Good evening. Hobart saw 19 today, Launceston and Burnie 18 and 17 in Devonport. Friendly Beaches though taking out the state's top with 21, St Helens not far behind 20, 19 at Bushy Park and Marai Island, 17 for Grove, the Islands and Smithton all 16, 15 the top in Low Head, 14 for Strawn and 12 for Laiwini. Cloud was visible about the west today with mostly clear conditions seen towards the east. We saw low cloud about the southeast of Australia associated with a ridge of high pressure. Now tomorrow morning another cold front will cross the state, extending a ridge to the west of Tasmania. Northwesterly winds increasing up to 35 knots about the south. They'll shift west to southwesterly with swells increasing up to 5 metres. A gale warning is current for coastal waters between Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point, and with that comes a strong wind warning for all remaining waters and inland lakes. Possible morning showers in Hobart tomorrow 16, a shower or 2 and windy conditions in store for Adventure Bay 15. Showers easing in Tarraleah, just 11 degrees there. 18 and partly cloudy in Launceston, cloud clearing in Devonport 17. 17 also in Bridport, although waking to a morning shower. Possible showers and winds easing in Burnie 16, showers easing also in Strawn 13 and 13 in Marrawal with a morning shower or 2. 19 and partial grey skies in St Helens, much the same in Swansea 18. Winds easing in Whitemark, 16's the top. Inland parts will wake to a morning frost on Wednesday. It will otherwise be a fine day. Now we can expect similar conditions on Thursday with north to northeasterly winds. And on Friday, showers developing about the far northwest, extending to remaining districts. Temps on the increase with Hobart chasing a lovely 22 degrees. To our national forecast now for your Tuesday. We'll see showery conditions across Adelaide and Melbourne tomorrow, fine and sunny in Canberra 23, 25 and partly cloudy in Brisbane. Us Taswegians would need some climatising for Darwin conditions tomorrow as the mercury continues to soar in Darwin. 14 in Hobart right now, clear conditions, clear also in Launceston, although partly cloudy in Devonport. Relatively fine conditions, Lou, for the very first day of the school holidays.
What fun that is. Thank you so much for that, Kaya. That's all your news for this Monday night. I'll be back later on with updates. Thank you for joining us. Good night.